Welcome back, everybody. Today is the big day. Today is the moment of truth when I get this thing pointed in the right direction and try to thrust it up to a higher altitude so we can get a new batch of science with our science station pods. Now this thing ended up to be a lot more wiggly than I expected it to be. I thought the struts that I had put on it were going to stabilize it a bit, but this thing just looks like it'd shake apart if it was an actual real space station. You can see the wiggles are starting to kick in pretty heavy when I try to accelerate. I was a bit late to the acceleration with this. I was thinking my nuclear engines were going to be more powerful than they were. So with this, I ended up having to do a good amount of lifting here, and then I had to go around one more orbit and then correct the amount that was left for the altitude lifting. It seems like every time I would start to make some ground on this maneuver node I put in, this thing would just start shaking crazy. I'd have to time accelerate to stop it, and then I'd have to come back in and try to point it in the right direction and then carve away on the maneuver node a bit more. It was pretty frustrating. I'm thinking the next one I need at least twice as many engines, if not more. Of course, with Kerbal, when in doubt, strap on more boosters, so that's probably what I'll do. This is just about as far as I can get before I have to go out for the extra orbit. Okay, so here we are. What we have to do now is level everything out so we stay up in a high orbit. Even this seems like a pretty hefty maneuver node to have to accelerate through. Of course, this is in the dark, so you can't see much of anything that's going on. And having to get myself lined up correctly again. It was a little bit nicer doing it this way in the dark because I didn't have to watch it wiggle as much. Okay, so finally, we're up at a high orbit. I just have to check all my pods, make sure I've got stuff running correctly. I wanted to save my kibble for the experiments, so I went ahead and shut down the zoology bay. I'll crank it back up later. So anyway, that's set. And now it's time to launch my new craft. This is an ion engine powered probe. Now the hope was to get enough ion engines strapped onto this thing and enough scientific instruments to where I can send this to Duna and use it to skip around, get some science, and perhaps go to some other planets as well. It depends on how these ion engines do, and how well the fuel holds up, which I managed to squeeze in a lot of fuel for this thing, so it should do pretty good. I got some really big solar panels on it as well, so that's gonna help out quite a bit. So here we are, set for a pretty good encounter there. I'm going to put in a maneuver node so that way I can kind of trim out the approach to save as much fuel as possible. And it's just a matter of tweaking it down. Here we are with a nice close approach to Duna. I'm trying to get it in close enough to where I can actually aero brake to try to save some fuel. I figured while I'm doing interplanetary maneuver here, I might as well do it as perfect as I can. So it looks like that's gonna set us up. I just have to be careful about my burn here, not to overdo it. So then I just put in an emergency maneuver node here to make sure I get captured, to where if I go flinging out the other side of the planet, I'll know which way to thrust in an emergency. And grabbing a little bit of science on the way in, sending that back. It is a nice looking planet there. And I'm using the astronomer's visual enhancements pack, so my planets may look a little bit different than vanilla. I should have dust storms down on Duna once I land, as part of that pack, I believe. So here we are coming in, trying to catch some atmosphere, kind of slow us down. Now here we are, after we're in a nice orbit. Extend the solar panels, and unfortunately this turned into a swastika. I did not do that intentionally. I was thinking the solar panels would actually make it look square, but evidently they're quite a bit longer than I thought they were. But anyway, it took a lot of design work to get everything I needed packed into as small and lightweight of a vessel as possible. Still don't know if these ion engines are gonna give me what I need. I do have parachutes on here to help me slow down. I wouldn't try it without it, because I know these ion engines aren't going to be able to slow me down. I'm just hoping there'll be enough to pick me back up off the planet. we are. Descent is a bit fast, so I throttled up and barely survived. And it looks like my thrust does no good here. Just tries to lift it, but it doesn't quite do the trick. So unfortunately, this probe is landlocked. It will be going no further, but it was a good try. I learned quite a bit from it, so hopefully I can put what I learned into future probes. So it's like it'll be retired after this. So anyway, thanks for checking this out. Tune in next time when I hope to create a second space station that will hopefully be good for putting out around Minmus.